Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing fine. Welcome to my next podcast on Back to Ancient Wisdom and Healing. As I said in every podcast, my life ambition is to analyze, if I may repeat, solutions for our day to day life scenarios. How does a common man like me resolve or behave in a better way every day and live happily always? You must have noticed that sometimes breaking old patterns, old habits or behavior patterns is hard to do. Example: imagine someone who struggle with procrastination. Is it easy to change this habit easily? Next, patience. Patience can be one of those qualities which we think of as being theoretically helpful, but feel little motivation to cultivate and strengthen the same within us. So it's a little difficult, but it is possible, as you go by. I always feel hungry when I see some candies in my grandchildren's hand. I feel like eating them too. Now, don't laugh. Some people have worse habits too. And my wife always suggests to change my habits, sometimes to do this, other time to do that. But I always reply to her saying that, hey, look, I am 68 years old now. Do you think I can change now? So the question arises, can we change our pattern of our behavior? The pattern which subconsciously we have inherited from our childhood. Now, the question again I ask is, does ancient wisdom provide us with solutions? Yes. Krodad bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibrama, smriti bramsad buddhi naso, buddhi nasat pranayasyati. This is Sanskrit language, originated in India, which is the second oldest language in the world, spoken even today. These verses are from Bhagavad Geetha, chapter 2, verse 63. It describes the destructive chain reaction of anger or anxiety or fear or any other bad qualities. From anger or anxiety or fear, delusion arises. From delusion, the bewilderment of memory. From the bewilderment of memory, the loss of intelligence. And from the loss of intelligence, one falls back into misery. This verse highlights how unchecked anger or anxiety clouds judgment and memory, leading to the destructions of one's intellect and ultimately descent into material existence and misery. Now, these are the changes in our pattern of thinking and behaving. I hope you have seen my previous podcast where I described about who is Krishna and who is Arjun. Krishna is the boss. Arjun is his disciple or his student or his team member. And Krishna advises Arjun how to change his thought patterns, because on the first day of the war, he puts down his armaments and says, Arjuna, I will not fight. Then Krishna advises him, change your habits. You may think good and give up fighting, but others will laugh at you. So you have to change your patterns. Now, is today's science giving us an answer to change and adapt new patterns? Yes, thanks to neuroplasticity, which echoes the above said verses in Bhagavad Gita, and exactly what Krishna advised Arjuna to change his thinking pattern. So, neuroplasticity, we are not doomed to being stuck in the rut of the same old painful behavior and cognitive patterns, and we can create new helpful patterns in our brain. That's why, buddhihi means the brain. You can change the brain. That's what the ancestors have told us. So the latest science has also is explaining us. So this podcast explores the nature of the conditioned mind. I will underline the word conditioned mind because of our, habits. And it gives tips on how to detangle, reset, and replace unhelpful karmic patterns and ultimately experience more freedom in our daily lives. To explain this concept more, I thought an expert who has knowledge on how to change the patterns of our behavior. Scientists call them as neuroplasticity, should explain the concept better. So I decided to have another podcast with Gunjani Patel. Welcome, Gunjani, and thank you so much for agreeing to participate in this podcast and share with us the concept of neuroplasticity, which enables a common man like me to control and change my behavior pattern. Gunjani Patel is a manifestation and life transformation coach with over 17 years of experience as a board licensed professional clinical counselor. She has helped more than 30,000 people transform their health, relationships, career, and money by blending neuroscience, subconscious reprogramming, and powerful advanced manifestation techniques. Welcome, dear Gunjani, and thank you so much for accepting to do this podcast. So, let me start with the first question. And the audience would like to know what is the concept of neuroplasticity and how do I reprogram my mind with this? Gunjani, it's all yours now.
Thank you, Sainath ji, again for this opportunity to be and serve your audience and be in front of them and help them with some of the experiences and knowledge that I've gained in 17 years of my doing this work. I truly appreciate being here. Thank you. So neuroplasticity means I am a little neuroscience nerd at heart because when I was a little secret, when I was younger and I wanted to go to med school, I wanted to become a neurosurgeon because brain fascinated me. And I'm like, and I just, our mind is, there is a conscious mind that we have that we think in the moment, and then that is 5%. And 95% is our subconscious mind, meaning all the conditioning, all the patterns, the emotional patterns, the thought and belief patterns, the life result patterns, the behavioral patterns, they're all patterns and habits that we acquired in the first 7 years of life, or in teenage years of life, or in early adulthood. In early 20s, when our brain goes through major brain remodeling. So in neuroscience, we say that anything we, up until 35 years of age, all our behavior patterns, our emotional patterns, and our belief patterns are locked in. So 95% of the day, we are conditioned after the age of 35 to live the same habits over and over throughout the entire day, even though consciously 5% of us knows that, oh, I want to be more patient. Oh, this is not good. I should not be showing up like this. Oh, I should be doing more of this, waking up in the morning and have a morning routine. Oh, not staying on devices at night. That is 5%. 95% is conditioned based on the patterns and habits that we learned early on in life that run our life, especially after 35. And our brain doesn't go through complete development. Our brain goes through absolute development by the age of 27. It used to be 25 years old, but till 27, our conscious mind, the higher mind, which is the part that makes us human, we call it in neuroscience prefrontal lobe, the left brain, the top part of our brain, that is responsible for thinking, decision making, rationalizing, motor skills, language skills, if I do this, reasoning skills, if I do this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. It doesn't develop till we are 27 years old, which is why a lot of times we end up making bad decisions because we are mostly making emotional decisions. Our brain is not completely developed, and it develops based on life experiences and how we perceive life, how we respond to life. If you haven't watched that podcast, for all of you who are watching this, please go back and watch that podcast. Sainath ji and I talked about it in Ancient Healing. We continue to react to life based on the patterns we learned in the first 7 or in teenage years. So neuroplasticity is our brain's ability to change. Change can happen at any age. I've worked with people who are 70 years old, and I've worked with people who are 90 years old. It doesn't take time or age to change. It takes awareness and consciousness and this decision that I am no longer available to living the same patterns over and over and over. We change as humans based on two things, either because of loss or excruciating pain or suffering, or we change because of insights that, you know what, I'm done with my suffering. Now let me change because this thing is not working anymore. So eventually we all get there. It depends on when we get there. So the whole idea is the brain is capable of changing anytime you want it to change. But it takes consciousness, it takes awareness, it takes the decision to want to change and not repeat the same mistakes over and over and expect different right life results.
Good, beautiful. So is it hard to change now, or is it again as you said, 90 years old also, people can be saying, do you think people like me at this age can change?
Let me ask you this. Have you changed? You've been doing, like, been in my community, right? Ask yourself this year, right? From all, you are very much into personal and professional development and growth and just working on yourself, because now you are at this age where you want to change because of insights. You're like, I'm done with, painful experiences. I finally learned from it. And now I'm ready to be ahead of change and grow because of insights. Are you the same person you were in January?
To be very frank, if you ask me, I always think I've changed. Only thing is, the other people have no. Once they give the feedback, they say, come on, you're not changed much. So how do I
But that is,
recognize that?
yeah.
How do I recognize myself that I'm still got to do a lot more things, and what should I do in order to change?
So one of the things that I always ask people when they ask me this question is, ask yourself what areas of your life. There are 4 areas of life that normally people tend to work on. There is either health, there is either relationships, there is either career or business or money, right? In both, I know that you do a lot of life coaching and help people as well. The whole idea is to ask yourself, which area of my life do I want to change? I recommend all 4 areas, because if you're changing in one area and your frequency is not changed in the other areas of life, it'll pull you down, as opposed to raising your frequency. Your frequency is your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, and your beliefs and your actions, right? 4 things, FTBA: feelings, thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Changing your frequency in all 4 areas of life, which is health, relationships, career, business, and money, will do you good in the greater scheme of things. But ask yourself, which one do you struggle with the most, and start there. Because when you start there, then the same formula, the same concepts apply in other areas of life. And one of the things that I ask people is, what is causing you the most friction? Are you finding it the most hardest in your relationships with people, professionally or personally? Are you finding it the hardest are you struggling the hardest in money areas of your life? Like, you make money and you spend money, that your income goes up, but your expenses goes up. Your relationship to money, are you struggling there? What is the struggle? Because in the beginning, when you're first starting to do this work, you want to find areas of your life that you're most struggling with. Or if you've already been doing work, then ask yourself, where is your frequency attracting the life that you don't want versus the life that you want to create? Because neuroplasticity is our ability to change, to not suffer anymore. Pain in the human realm is inevitable. We all go through pain, some level of pain, because we change, we grow through that. But suffering is optional. Staying stuck in the pain, not having the emotional mastery skills, not having the conflict resolution skills, not having emotional intelligence, not knowing how to reprogram your subconscious minds, all of those are skills that can be learned. So if you're finding yourself struggling in any of these areas of life, it's time to change. Because unconsciously, we keep expecting the same things, doing the same things over and over and expecting different results. That is a definition of insanity. We have to change in order to see different results in our life.
Okay. So suppose I identify myself. Say, for example, my health. I want to reduce my, weight.
Yes.
And then, of course, I'm very good in relationships. So,
Perfect.
maybe career, the career now that I'm retired, but still,
Yeah.
I'm more interested in, conducting all these programs and all. But once I've identified
Yeah.
it, how do I
Yeah.
go about? In the sense, what should I do in order to
Yes.
change my perspective or behavior as per the neuroplasticity concept?
So it can go very deep, but I'm going to keep it very surface, so at least the audience that are watching this gets the most out of this and can start applying this change today, right? There's this technique called NLP. We call it neuro-linguistic programming, right? Neuro meaning the brain cells, the wiring in the nervous system, which is our subconscious mind, the brain cells. Neuro-linguistic meaning with our language. Linguistic is language. And programming is the patterns, the conditioning, the habits, the program, the way we have programmed ourselves, right? The whole study of neuro-linguistic programming is changing your programming to change the life that you are creating versus the life that you're used to living that is not serving you. So if you want to change, let's say we want to change the health area of your life, right? So we pick one, and the same formula applies everywhere. What are your current FTBA? Like, what are you feeling about your weight? We always start with emotional patterns first, because emotional patterns, then what we keep feeling, like every thought you are thinking is a neural connection in your brain, right? Like if you think this is a red car, two brain cells will connect. If you think, oh, I like this, two brain cells will connect. If you say, oh, I'm always so, I'm not healthy, two brain cells will connect. It doesn't matter. It's just brain cell to connect. But then your feeling, what we keep saying over and over become our belief patterns. And what we believe is how we feel. So if you keep saying, I'm so overweight, I'm not healthy, I'm so anxious, I'm so fearful, all those are connections you're making in your brain. The connections, what fires together, like we keep saying in neuroscience, whatever fires together, whatever wires together, fires together, wires together. So we keep saying that over and over. We keep feeling the same emotional patterns. So we take the actions or don't take the actions based on that. So if you keep saying feelings, if you keep saying the thought that, oh, I'm not healthy, oh, I just always end up eating, oh, I have to do this diet, oh, I have to do this, like I'm not, what you say is how you will feel. So how do you feel? Dissatisfied, not good enough, not healthy, feel very unworthy. All those are feelings. What you change your feeling pattern and then change your belief pattern, because your beliefs, your feelings are generating beliefs. Those thoughts that you thought, they're binding even tight. So you're saying, oh, I'm so fat, I don't like myself, oh, I don't, I cannot lose weight no matter how hard I try. They're bonding. These neural programming and circuitry is coming together. So then you're like, okay, I'll start tomorrow. What's the point? Oh, at this age, I cannot change. We come up with all these excuses because that is our familiarity of being unhealthy. And our brain, in terms of neuroplasticity, likes familiarity. What we are used to doing, it feels safe. So we keep doing it over and over. So when we want to change, all these doubts will come up, all these fears will come up, all these excuses will come up, because our brain perceives that as unsafe. And as a result, we don't change. So we keep doing the same thing, wanting different results. So change your emotional patterns, change your belief patterns, rewire the opposite. So how would you feel if you've lost weight? Feel good. I feel excited. I feel energetic. So then your action frequency will keep saying that. I feel really excited to take daily actions every day to make eating healthy choices. I work out 3 times a week. I love working out. I am a massive action taker. I love being healthy. I love being aging young. Those would be your thoughts. Those would be your beliefs. That, wow. So keep saying, thought repeated over and over become our belief. So what we focus on grew. Now we focus on other things. So this connection dissipates with time, and this connection will start building. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to change consciously.
So the understanding of that is, okay, the brain is capable of changing. Only thing is you have to put
at any age.
The first effort is to have that positive feeling. You can, in the sense, suppose I say, come on, at this old age, how can I lose weight? No, I think I should change it to no. Even at this age, even if
Right.
with so many external negative factors, I think I can change. So is that the feeling?
I'm willing to change. When you say willing to change, your body is like, yes, willing to change. Willingness versus willfulness. Make it change, force. it will not change.
Okay. Then I'm sorry, I heard you saying feelings, thoughts, and beliefs. That means
Beliefs.
you believe that it will happen.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
In the
And the
beginning, you won't have that belief because it's foreign. But thoughts repeated over and over become your beliefs. So you say, I'm willing to change. I'm willing to eat healthy. I'm willing to work out every day. I'm willing to move my body so I age young. If you're willing, if you're open to, then your brain is like, okay, chalo, let's do it. Otherwise, you'll be like, no, I don't want to do it. Or I'll try tomorrow. What's the point? All this negativity will lead you to not feel the belief in the beginning. Just keep saying it over and over. Thoughts repeated over and over become our belief. You just said it long enough that you cannot change, you're unhealthy, it's hard to lose weight, how can I do it at this age? So those thoughts then lead you to not taking actions towards being healthy, not
like, for
feeling
example,
good.
Last podcast we had with how to improve a relationship with your boss. So if you
Yeah.
send the positive signal, yes, I can have a good relationship with my boss, I can have a good relationship with my
I'm
spouse,
willing. Yeah,
it's basically that positive energy which you're passing it on, and what you're trying to say is the brain is capable of doing the correct connections.
100%. At
and
any
the
age.
and the last is the action. So that means I have to do something in
Yeah.
order to achieve these, right? So the action is very important in all that.
Action is 20%. The mindset is 80%. Mindset includes emotional patterns.
No, I
So
thought that it's
I
the
always
other way
tell
around. I thought it's the
I
other way
always
around.
tell people in the world of manifestation that action frequency is 20%, whereas your thoughts, your beliefs, your feelings are 80% of the work that you have to first do. Like most Olympic athletes, right? They train in their minds first. There are so many studies on visualization and mental rehearsal, building new neural circuitry and neural pathways, that they do it. And when, like, there are also piano studies and music studies where there were two control group where one person actually played the piano and they measured their motor activity in their brain, and then the other set of people just visualized playing a piano, the same motor activities that went from hitting this finger went off in the brain. So your brain actually thinks that you are doing it in that moment as if it's actually happening, but you are mentally rehearsing it. You're visualizing it as opposed to just, actually doing it. So before taking action, have the frequency of you eating healthy every day, you making good choice, you putting it down, you learning how to manage your stress, so you're not emotionally eating, you are seeing yourself aging young, you feel so happy and vibrant and full of energy in your body before you actually do all that. So when you show up to that action, you are showing up to that action with enthusiasm. You're not showing up with that action, oh, I have to be healthy now. Oh, it never works for me. Oh, yeah, we want to eat biryani. Okay, after my diet, I'll come and join you. You want to have infinite goals that this is my lifestyle now. This is how I show up to life in this area. My boss behaves well with me. I don't know how. He's always very open to being kind to me. If he's not, my emotional capacity is wow, this is great, no problem. I know that I always get what I want. I always have good relationships with people. And then there are all these skills you have to learn. But again, learning skills expands your neural connection, expands your brain's ability to change.
So the 80% you said is more on your feelings and your thoughts and beliefs. So, and then the action is, of course, is important, is a must, but around
100% important.
unless the first 80% is done, then there's no use doing the 20%. And when you do that 80%, doing, is it thinking, or is it always advisable to write it down? And then, because people like me, okay, today I
Yeah.
have to reduce my weight, let me this thing and all that, but after 10 minutes, half an hour after playing with my grandchildren, I'll forget about it. So is
Yes.
it, what do
So
you?
both. It depends on the person because everybody is different, right? So the action frequency, one of the things that I wanted to mention and double click into in terms of the action frequency is that I want people to take inspired actions. Inspired action is a much higher frequency than I have to do it, forceful action. Then you will not be consistent. Then it doesn't come from a place of passion and inspiration. It comes from a passion I have to and forceful and making it happen versus, you know what, small baby steps every day and habit stacking every day that I do to change my action frequency. I love doing this, and that's why I do it. On the days that you don't love doing it, do something else. Do something like dance, walk it off, or do some other activity that is movement, or making healthy choices, or doing whatever it is that you need. We are using the example of the health, right? So whatever it is that you need to do in order to take inspired actions towards your future, right? The question that you asked me, the second follow-up question, was in terms of writing it down. Some people like writing it down. So you all the things work. Like in manifestation, there is no like you have to do this or you don't. There are certain things you have to do, but there are certain things that you write it down. Like I teach my clients to my community to write things on the water bottle. So that way it's like an affirmation that I'm writing. I remember it. I charge my water bottle. I feel the frequency. Feeling is a much higher attraction point than thinking. You can keep saying all day long that, yeah, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy. But inside you're feeling not good enough, all this shame, all this insecurity, life sucks, this and that. All that has to be healed. That has to be worked on first. So yes, you when you're trying to change, healing is a bit equal part, like other side of the coin of manifesting. Manifestation is the life you're creating, but healing the old frequency, the old patterns is also equally important. So when you say scripting or writing versus not writing, yes, you can write it down, write your affirmations and read them every day. Feel those emotional patterns every day. Rehearse them in your mind first. So then in a week or two, that becomes your pattern, and it'll be like, now the person you've become, you don't have to write it down and look at, is this the person I am? No, because you've already become it. 95% of it, you already know, you already are, you've become. So in the beginning, if you need to write it down to remember and feel, then write it down, remember and feel. Eventually that'll be your autopilot. That'll be your new baseline.
I love the sentence, baby steps. In the sense, it is not that people can change immediately or in a short time and all that. It takes more time. So let's take, say, for example, say I want to go for a walk every day. So 5 minutes. Maybe the first day I go for out for 5 minutes, then increase to 10 minutes and keep on increasing it, baby steps, so that your body is so accustomed to the old methods that will be very.
It's not a shock to your system.
It's not a shock system. So the baby steps is very good. And like what I mentioned in the ancient Bhagavad Geetha, Arjuna was lucky enough to have a guru like Lord Krishna. So in this practicing the neuroplasticity, understanding the concept and doing it, I think you do require someone to guide, or people like you who conduct regular programs and where you can, people can participate. I also conduct such programs, not on NLP, but in other areas and all that, law of attraction and all that. I think, would you recommend that people, after understanding this concept, the podcast, that they should also attend regularly certain
100%. 100%, because change happens, neuroplasticity happens with repetition and specificity. Two things. So what we keep repeating over and over and over becomes our pattern. We just repeated the old frequency over and over, so it became a pattern. The pattern of being unhealthy, the pattern of feeling like a victim with your boss, the pattern of irritation, the pattern of anger, the pattern of impatience, whatever it is that one is currently working through. The new pattern requires repetition. That's why most people get all excited and they'll have all this josh in the beginning of the year, like, yeah, this year I'm going to be healthy. In 2 weeks, gone. There is a National Quitters Day. January 14th is the National Quitters Day. Most people quit by 2 weeks. By February, next year I'll start again. That's what normally happens. Okay. So for most people who are very successful people, that the 1% of the population, they all have coaches. Like Sachin Tendulkar didn't become Sachin Tendulkar by himself. He had a coach. Most people have coaches, because coaches help us see our blind spots. They help us guide, because what we can see, what we can't see, what we don't know, we don't know. So when we have coaches, they guide us. They have been where we want to be. So they help us stay accountable. They help us collapse time. They teach us from their learnings and mistakes. They teach us from their trainings. So we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. So
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. So, and in terms of specificity, sometimes people come to me and they're like, I'm not getting the job. Then I'm like, your frequency is not tuned to your 30-day goals. Your frequency is not aligned properly because we think we are doing it correctly, but coaches see what we are not willing to see, what we don't see yet. That is our blind spot.
Correct.
So
And
we wire in specificity is the other part. So we wire in wrong things and wrong things manifest.
be careful. Yeah, yeah, we should be careful. And again, going back to the ancient wisdom, they always say that better to practice in a group, in
Yes,
rather than
yes.
individual. That will be more effective. Like always, they say singing or praying or anything like that. When you do it in
Yeah,
a group, more effective, and
yeah.
you will see the changes very fast. Am I right in
Yes.
saying that?
100%. There is a whole concept of power of coherence, power of eight. Power of eight is when you're practicing something in a group, you are inspired by others. Your frequency raises because of the collective frequency. When we do things together, first of all, you don't feel like you're doing it alone. You have to do it. You see other people, you see their results, you feel more inspired, you stay accountable because you are motivated to take actions as opposed to you have to willfully take actions. And the power of eight is your frequency enhances when you are in a group of people with the same intention. The intention is squared. There are studies done on this, that your intentions are squared when you are in a collective experience. So the intention that you would go about with anything in life, when you say, oh, I want to be healthy, but if you're doing it with other people who are healthy, we are like the 5 people we surround ourselves with. So we are with people who are like-minded, who are doing the same work, who are inspiring each other, who are lifting each other up, who are cheering each other on, then that becomes our frequency. So we continue to make life 2% better, baby steps, every day, and that compounds at the end of the year, as opposed to I tried well full josh and then in 2 weeks I'm back to where I am. 25 years ago I started being healthy and I'm still here unhealthy.
Got you. Got you. Thank you so much. What would be the take home points for the audience on this concept?
That our brain is capable of changing. It takes
Ah,
awareness and it takes consciousness. It takes repetition. It takes being in a group and being open to being growth mindset is I'm open to change and I'm willing to change with support and help. Whereas rigid mindset is I can do it on my own. I got this. A lot of times people will try to do it on their own, which is great. There's nothing wrong with it. And it takes a lot more willingness, a lot more, all of these things that we just talked about are life skills, are awareness. It's one thing to know about this stuff, and another to actually have the action frequency to keep consistent and staying motivated. Staying motivated is also a skill.
oh, yeah, that's correct. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Gunjani, for
You're welcome.
highlighting this and beautifully explaining,
Thank
especially
you.
what is possible and what is the right way of doing it rather than only the
Yes.
concept. Thank you so much. And
You're welcome.
thank you, audience, for listening to the podcast. Please, if you like the podcast, give us a thumbs up and you can register for this. And also, Gunjani's email ID and her the website is mentioned. I have also mentioned my email ID. You can send us any queries or any questions or more clarification to any of our emails ID, because both of us, conduct programs on such programs and all. Thank you so much. Again, this is day-to-day issues of human beings like me, a common man like me. Thank you so much. And again, welcome. Let's see you in the next podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Sainath ji. It has been a pleasure.